And I want to begin this morning with Mr. Wade Henderson, who is the President and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights. Wade.
Thank you, Michael, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Wade Henderson. I'm president of the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights. The Leadership Conference is the nation's oldest and largest and most diverse civil and human rights coalition. We say that we are 200 national organizations working to build an America as good as its ideals. We are honored at the Leadership Conference to be a part of the campaign for high school equity. We think that public education is a fundamental civil right, and we think that this campaign is intended to lift up the importance of education, the central importance of education to the betterment of the American life. You know, interestingly enough, it was President Johnson in 1965, in signing the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, who observed that education will not cure all the problems of society, but without it, no cure of any problem is possible. It was true in 1965. It's true in 2007. And so this morning's program is an opportunity to really talk about the importance of education to American life. Now, I think this discussion occurs at an especially propitious time. 2007 is the 50th anniversary of the signing of the first modern Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1957, signed by President Dwight Eisenhower, helped to, in fact, founded the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, making it the nation's largest civil rights law firm, and founding the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, once known as the conscience of the nation. It's lost its way recently, needs reform, but it's an important institution that served our country well. This is also the 50th anniversary of the federal intervention in Little Rock to achieve equal opportunity for a group of 9 students at Little Rock Central High who sought to simply obtain the public education available to all students. So this is really an especially propitious moment to have this conversation. Now, my colleagues Peter Zamora and Bethany Little will talk in much more detail about the successes and shortcomings of the No Child Left Behind Act, and about how much we can do and how much more we can do to address high school reform in the pending NCLB reauthorization. I think that's important. I want to take a couple of minutes to lay a foundation predicate for this conversation and to really talk about the importance of public education as a fundamental civil right. Now, most Americans think that the modern civil rights movement began with the Supreme Court's decision in Brown versus the Board of Education, and that's probably a useful starting point. But the truth is, for over 100 years before the court pursued Brown, there was a long-standing recognition that access to quality public education was not just a fundamental civil right, it was really the pathway to equality in American life. It's not surprising that prior to the end of slavery in the U.S., it was prohibited by law to educate slaves. And even after the end of slavery, there was a long-standing recognition that access to education would in fact open up opportunities which those in power wanted to deny those who had none. And so all during the period from 1863 up until the time the Supreme Court issued its decision in Plessy versus Ferguson, the separate but equal decision in 1896, there were numerous instances of a denial of educational opportunity by state and local authorities, particularly focused on people of color, African Americans, Latinos, and Asians. That was Native Americans, the largely excluded groups of that process. When the court finally spoke to the issue of equal opportunity in Plessy, the separate but equal standard saying in effect that you could have opportunities, but they would have to be done on a separate basis, the record of court action is littered with decisions denying students of color access to education, not just on an unequal, disparate basis, on any basis. So whether we're talking, again, about any of the affected classes, and I can go ahead and cite those cases for you. I won't do that this morning. I think it's a little heavy. But I will tell you that the record is clear, and for those who have questions, I'm happy to document it.